Oh, I don't know what happened. He's broke. Everybody, he's broken. He's all broken. Okay. Hello, 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 and welcome to another One Line of Code. I am One Lion, and you are all amazing. Happy Thursday. Happy Thursday to you. Whew. Things are going interestingly, but we are going to continue regardless. And hello, Scott. We write code on this channel one line at a time. Okay, everything looked like it was broken, but I think it's kind of working. So let me know if you see any quirks or weirdnesses that happen on stream. And yeah. We'll see how it goes. Sometimes you do multiple lines of code at a time. Copilot does multiple lines of code at a time. Oh no, you're right. I do multi-caret, don't I? And it's Shift Alt for me. I like box select. Either Alt Control, Alt Shift. I guess on occasion I do Control Alt. Hello, Marcus Voice Coder. We tried to catch your stream this morning. But you were super duper quiet and then TBD rated in. A ditty. Forgive me. I know we're still on the starting screen, but I'm still getting started. So give me about another. Taking a shower in my own sneezes. Yuck. Disgusting. Oh, give me a second, or 12, or 20, or 50, or however long this takes. Today we are going to be working some more on RTRAC and the UI stuff that we left off with yesterday. I didn't get very much done after the stream. My head was pounding, so I was just taking my time, cozied up with my tea with a little warm bottle against my neck. And the other thing that I had, lots and lots of water, and my headache did go away, but it was pretty close to the end of the workday when it finally subsided, which was kind of annoying. Yep, my drift. I don't know if you need to get my drift, but it was annoying. Bottle of tea. It was just a cup of tea. It was a bottle of hot water. But hi, Dukasoft. Hi, Stony Eagle. Welcome in. If I go to Angie, I'll show you guys my screen very, very soon. Those sneezes take a lot out of me, dang it. And I was feeling so good because I didn't have a headache. And I'm like, man, it's going to be a great stream. My head is not pounding. And then I start sneezing. And then I get dizzy. At least it's not a headache. All right. And we push Estato. All right, we can close that. Open up this browser here. I forgot a thing. Guys, I forgot a thing. I never forget a thing. Close. Very close. Close. I forgot. Thyrovius. I mean Lev. I'm on Thyrovius. Duca of S? What is Duca of S doing? Duca of Espheros. Anyway, does that mean I'm rich? Yes. Absolutely. You have T of patience. What? I don't get it. All right, I needed to right click on compiler config, web compiler, recompile, see if any styles got updated. They did. Recompiled stas. Any almost there. Almost there. Good. All right. One more publish and I am good to go. And I'll be able to see chat too. Right now I cannot see chat. Gomenasai. Oshiwaki arimasen. And G. Stop. Import. Stop and import. I feel you moving, but I go no import. Okay. 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 No, what did I open? I hope that didn't break anything. That broke stuff. Dag nabbit. I'm breaking things left and right. I think we're about to go to Ohio. Just because DC Aggie mentioned it. No, he mentioned Utah. Dang it. I'm really good at places. But hi, TBD Gamer. Isn't it a nice scene, though? Okay, let's make it dark. By going here, clicking U, pushing refresh, going back to that scene, connect, one lion. No, we aren't doing stand-up yet. But we'll take your stand-up anyway. Dukasoft says, stand-up. My WYSIWYG editor is moving forward. Today I can add rows and columns, converted it to HTML, and saved it in DB, both in HTML format and row column format. I really hate creating this part of the website, but it is much needed. Sits down. That sounds like a blocker to me. Control F5. All right, try this again. Close enough. Close enough. Yeah, the thing is that the highlight isn't actually... And it's adding it multiple times. Dagnabbit. That was wrong. That was so wrong. What? I mean, it was cool, but it was wrong. Okay, that's fine. Moving on. So, I'm gonna grab a tissue, clean on my nose from all of this sneezing, and then we'll be ready to start. Yeah. Good to go. Whoa, we changed scenes. Now we're looking at a beautiful sky somewhere over. Interact. Itaboraí, Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. In March. That's pretty recent. Okay. So here's RTRAC. Here's what we've been working on. Actually, before I do that, let me say hello to everyone else that came in. So we said hi to Scott, Marcus, Dukasoft, and Stony Eagle, and then TBD came in as well. And make sure that this is my active browser. And I saw Harish. And that's everyone that I hadn't greeted yet. Excuse me. So chat says, starting from the top, may as well. Hello, one line of code, says Scott. Sometimes you do multiple lines of code at a time. And I'm like, no, I don't. That's COPA. And then I'm like, yes, I do. I use Alt-Shift. Sometimes I use Control-Alt. What does Shift-Control do, though? Yeah, Shift Control is not the keyboard shortcut, at least not in my Visual Studio. It's either Alt Shift for box select or Alt Control for multi select. When I'm using keyboard, it's usually Alt Shift for box select. And then I turn it into multi-caret by pushing it. Actually, it's cool now because it used to be when you used Alt Shift, it would only be box select. So you could only, when you moved, it would remove the multi-caret. So you would have to do something like do a box select first and then Control Alt click on the last one so that it turns into multi-caret. And then you could use it as a multi-caret. Yeah, and now it's just automatically a multi-caret. So that was very nice. Speaking of multi-caret, Marcus said multiple caret by voices fun. By voice is fun. It sounds hard, especially since it is interpreting your caret as the food caret and not caret as in the cursor position. Or caret as in the gold. I don't know how to spell that caret. Or diamond measurement. Gold. It's gold. It's got to be gold. So, where am I? Hello again, says Stony Eagle. Dukasoft said bottle of tea. With a ducky wave. Scott is saying points. Stony Eagle. Stony Eagle has 1,535 points. Paw points. And is rank 152 out of 1,573 on the leaderboard. Then Stony asked, does that mean I'm rich? And the answer is yes. Absolutely yes. And then Stony Eagle said Duca of S. But I don't get what the Duca of S is. Then TBD said, hello all, funny finding you here. Marcus said Q of T of patience. Stone Eagle asked for the points for Scott. He has 18,975 paw points and is ranked 20 out of 1,573 on the leaderboard. And Stony Eagle says, I see, I have a long way to go. Long time no see, TBD Gamer, since you were on his stream this morning, where he was working on Liquid Sky. The Sky. And I won't go into the details of the project because you can read it there. And I'm sure you've heard me say it like 8,000 times, or you're already a part of his stream. Already. Harish says, hey, where are you flying? Apparently it was to Rio de Janeiro. And we made it. We even made it to the house that we were staying at. And TVD Gamer waves. Dukasoft gave a stand up. TVD Gamer says, wow, to Dukasoft flexing with this productivity. Stone Eagle says, fancy. TVD Gamer said, some of us just added the same JavaScript library twice and messed it up today. Who would that be? And what is going on? How is it going, Marcus? Thank you for your what's up. Completely appropriate. Shout out to Stony Eagle, who streams on occasion, I guess. You'll see him most often as a mod on AAOA and others. You call TBD Gamer just TBD. What will it take for you to just call me Stony? Stony, it would take me remembering is what it would take. It's just I really, really like your name as is. It's such a cool name. Marcus said, ask for dark mode on my Scrabble game, and Copilot came up with this. Oh, yeah. That's not bad. Except you can't really see this part. But it's not terrible. It's not the worst. Good grief. I hate Imager, by the way. Just so you know. I wasn't even paying attention. But yeah, not too bad at all. Dugasoft said, good bot. What did the bot do? Oh, it detected spam. Thank you, bot. Then Dugasoft said to Stony Eagle, to Stony, that's too much work, Eagle. Thank you. At least if you write to him and anyway, just Eagle is fine too. Stop being so mean to me. I'm not purposefully being mean. I really don't like being mean to individuals, to people, to groups of people. I just don't like being mean or being perceived as being mean. I really, really don't like that. Because my intention is definitely never to be mean. Never. See, sometimes there are uses for absolutes. The only reason that I harp on absolutes is because when I speak with people, I would like to know what their true opinions and thoughts are. And if you use absolutes all the time, then I never know whether you are using it in a sense that you truly do believe that that absolute is a thing, that whatever you're saying is always the case, never the case, everyone, no one, those types of things. So I don't know how to continue a conversation with you personally, because that's what I use in order to determine, are we saying that there is room for this situation to not happen or to happen, or for people to choose to do this or not to choose to do this? Or are you just using hyperbole? But if you're using it all the time, then it's kind of hard to tell. It's kind of like me and sarcasm. I use it all the time, and it's hard to tell when I'm being sarcastic or not, because I always sound sarcastic. Or I never sound sarcastic. Or I always never sound sarcastic. Then Dukasoft said to Eagle, and the other thing is that there is someone named Eagle Hansen that comes by, and so I call him Eagle. So calling you Eagle is like, I deobfuscate it by using your full name, and I love your full name, your full username. It's such a good one. That's too much work. I just get my users/clients to do the testing. Just Eagle is fine too. Stop being so mean to me. Okay. Then Stony Eagle said to Dukasoft, Duca of S is a reply on this, where S stands for soft. Oh! And then, wahaha, you nutter. That's a terrible name to call someone. And Dukasoft said, nice. Eagle said, love you, Duka. Dukasoft said, canny hugs and panda back. Good VJ is here. Hi, guys. Marcus says, I guess you don't mean to be mean. Not on purpose. No, I'm totally joking on the mean part. And I didn't even realize that you were saying that as a reply to Dukasoft anyway. What do you mean? TBD laughed at the absolutes. Thank you so much for your lurk, TBD. I said stop. So it gave it away that I wasn't serious. I don't know. I've seen people use that seriously. And again, I assume intentions quite a bit, but then I react as if I don't know your true intentions because I want to react in a neutral kind of way to leave room for whichever way you're trying to go. But that usually means that I'm leaning more towards the you're being serious part because I don't like treating people like they are. I don't like people feeling like they are not treated seriously in the event that they are someone that is often treated like they are not being serious and they want to be treated like they are being serious. There aren't enough people in the world that do that, in my opinion. So I would like to provide that experience for some people, like myself. I get tired of being treated like I'm not being serious. All right, Eagle says, oh no, if I have something I am actually mad about, I would take it up one-on-one with you. Don't worry. Dukesoft says, seriously? Did you mean bit gamey? You can shout him out if you want. Or just wait for him to get here if he comes here today. If he shows up. Yay. Bit gamey Lee. Of the digital age. All right. So the behavior that we've been trying to do for RTRAC has been and there is a shout out for Big Gamey. To make it so that we can keep the menus open, the submenus open when we click on a given menu item. The one change that I've made so far, and you saw me make it, I think, on yesterday's stream, but I just cleaned it up and moved it to a better place, is that we can set the focus within for one of the items, and when the focus is on that item, then the menu does not collapse. The issue is that we can still hover over other menu items. So that's not a good thing. So one of the things that I tried to do yesterday and failed at, was to say that the menu item that has the focus within find its nearest sibling and make sure that the menu, its submenu, stays. It is menu item that would be the sibling, right? Expandable. It's the expandable that would be. Aha. Aha. Is it actually called expandable? I pushed the wrong button. I always push the wrong button. Why wouldn't I push the wrong button? So menu items with children have the expandable on them. So yes. So let's select the nearest sibling expandable. For now, it's just going to be the nearest sibling expandable, and make sure that it is, it is not expandable. Dang it. So that didn't actually work. This one did. Okay, Okay, so we got it working for submenu items. Could you have rules for hover and different rules for keyboard? I don't know. The keyboard rules are very similar. So tabbing will put focus on the item. So that means that this will get focus within when you tab to that given item. And when we tab out of it, then it collapses. So the goal is obviously to be able to keyboard tab onto the expandable menu items themselves. Or sort. So then at least they are clickable. So then we're also going to do user select none. So that when we click drag, we don't actually select text. Then the thing that triggers close is when it does not meet this criteria. When it either doesn't have the hover, or not either, when it both doesn't have the hover and it does not have focus within. So again, focus within just means that there is an active child, which is a really, really good group, an active element that is a child of that container, of the expandable container. It's Corsair. You're right. About smash my teeth again. So it is as simple as clicking outside of it, because that is the expected behavior for menu items. You either click outside of it. Have you considered an access key to get the keyboard to focus on a certain place? Not at the moment. I know about it, but I have not considered it. That is definitely going to be something that would need to be added to the list of things to do. Because right now the primary focus is to get this menu expanded behavior to work. Adding that would just be more on top of trying to get this effort completed. But since you have brought it up, well, it's not just active. Because like, oh, no, that's fine. I could read it still. Hold on. Give me a second to write this down. Lab data. Nope, I need the RTRAC. I guess I could put it here. RTRAC menus and other UI elements have access keys. Okay, so I noted it down, Marcus. And 8bits is here. How is everyone doing today? I'm doing well. Sounds like a lot of people in chat are also doing well. It tried to turn it into a command that it didn't recognize. Got it. Yeah, if you just put an extra space in front of it, everything should be fine. So like if you were just trying to have the dot, whatever, just put a space in front of it and then you'll be able to do it as regular text. Oh, okay. We can add that. It's just quite the rule. Oh yeah, isn't that a thing where has doesn't use pseudo selectors? It can accept pseudo selectors. Mhm. Yeah, generally doesn't support pseudo selectors. So Eagle is saying, have not used them much, so I'm not sure. I believe it accepts any valid CSS selector, and then we just read that it struggles with pseudo selectors. Yeah, you can definitely put pseudo selectors in not, which is very nice, but you can't put, I mean, it seems like it doesn't accept very many pseudo selectors, very many other pseudo selectors. So this does work though. This absolutely targets the thing 100% million. It targets the elements that we are looking for, which is any expandable that is not hovered and does not have focus within. So again, focus within just means that the it's pretty much the same as active. So active pseudo selector doesn't really get set very often, from what I could tell. You either get focus or hover. Those are the ones that you can rely on the most, or so what I have found to be the ones that you can rely on the most. Okay, so that said, I want to make the expandable menu selectable. I don't want to do that using tag index because I've heard that changing the tag index is also bad practice. Even if you're just trying to make something selectable. So what I would be inclined to do is tag index equals 0 so that it does the auto index. And that didn't work anyway. Yeah, but that's another thing. If it is specifically that when an element is clicked, it becomes active, I wouldn't want that because these links are also getting clicked, and I want it to hide the menu when a link does actually get fully clicked and it loads that page. Otherwise, this currently has the active pseudo, or I think it's an attribute. Whatever nav links use to indicate that the link is active, which I think can be styled by targeting :active. Yeah, where's field data? That's regular data. Submenus. Field data. Nav link. Oh, it actually gives it a CSS class. Snubble is here. Snubble says, whenever someone says something is bad practice, I just want to do it even more. That's an approach. That is absolutely an approach. Doing the dishes is bad practice. Okay. But the point is, we're fine. Everything is working the way that I'm intending it to. The only issue, or there are two issues. Everything is working the way I intend it to. There are two issues with the way that I want this to work. Issue number one is that the menu items themselves that are expandable are not selectable, which means that they can't get the focus. And if they can't get the focus, then we can't give it focus within. So that's the first thing that we want to change. The second thing that we want to change is that when you do have a menu, an expandable menu that does have focus within, the rest of the menu items that are siblings to it cannot be expanded either. So I have a CSS way of doing it, a Blazor way of doing it that I've done it before, which is essentially just if you click on the menu item itself, then it sets the active menu to that menu item. Active menu, then it sets the expanded. There would be multiple expanded menus though. We'll get to that second one in a second. I'm gonna write that one down. But the first hill to climb is getting the menus themselves clickable or focusable, which is why I write 16-bit DOS programs in 2025. You can give the non-anchor tags a tab index. So I just mentioned that, says Eagle, and we could, but typically I have heard, and I could be wrong about this, so I'll need to look it up and we'll do that together, that adding a tag index to UI is typically bad practice. I think using tag index 0 is okay because it just says use the auto ordering and you don't mess with screen readers or tab. It's tab index. So this should have worked. I was like, why isn't this working? Okay, so yes, this is now working the way that I was expecting it to. Kind of. Dang it. I only want to add the tag. I keep saying tag index. This is what the issue is. I only want to add the tab index when the element is expandable. You know what? I can add the tab index to when the href is null, which means that it will be expandable. Oh, which is Stony Eagle's comment. Good grief. Which is Eagle's comment. You can give the non-anchor tags, but they are anchor tags, but you can give the non-anchor tags a tab index to make them focusable. Yeah, I just didn't want to put -1 because -1 really does mean this is not tab toable. Remove it from the tab abilities. So that was my very first thought, which is tab index equals expandable. Well, not string is null or white space expandable, then 0, otherwise -1. But then that removes this entire item from being tab toable. And it wasn't the container that I wanted to have the focus anyway, it was the nav item. You can't, or you can actually. I'm kind of want to see what it looks like, but if I'm right, the way to make an attribute disappear in Blazor is not string is null a white space example, no, expandable CSS, then 0, else null. So if you put null in as the value for an attribute, the attribute should not appear on the element. So regular data is expandable. We get tab index 0. We expand the items. The first menu item is not expandable, and therefore it does not get the tab index. So yes, I just remembered that now that you said it the way you did, Eagle. Just set it to null if you want the attribute to disappear, to not even be added. But again, this wasn't the element that we wanted to have tabbable on. It is absolutely helpful. Okay, so this should be all of the behavior then. We should be able to tab all the way across all of these. Ooh, oh, right. You still had the hover, and the sibling expandable is working for sub items, but it is not working for parent items. So now we have the behavior where you click on the menu and it will stay open. The problem is we can still hover over other hover over other menu items. While that one is open. So just like this. Wow. Okay. So that's good. We're going to, I don't know why I'm repeating myself suddenly. We're gonna go ahead and commit this small change. So set menu items to stay open when clicked. I mean, expandable menu items. So that's one of our commits. The next commit will be the one where we actually get all siblings of an expanded menu, of an expandable menu item that has focus within. To not expand, to always be display none. Can we do that? I know we can. We can do this. We are magicians. That would be specifically in, why isn't this, oh, it is. I was like, why isn't the CSS open? Do any of you have more than one child that has more than one expandable? No. That's annoying. Because like it works here. Oh, I know. We can just duplicate this item, right? Nope. This one. Duplicate. Okay, so now there are two. So this one currently has the focus. Its nearest sibling cannot be expanded. And then the sibling after that can be expanded. So we need a way to say every sibling. I could hack it by using a for loop. Is this the explanation of what I just said? Let me get it in Firefox. Oh no. Hello? Shout out clips? No, not shout out clips. Firefox. This is Firefox, right? Why did Firefox change its output audio? Speaker Yeti microphone. And that should be desktop too, right? Settings. Audio. Device 2 not connected or available. Your mom is not connected or available. All right, let's try this again. The problem is we can still hover over other. Whoa, you can see a balding spot. Did you see that? Over. My hair is thinning. Other menu items. While that one is open. So just, at least I finally did say the thing I meant to say. Words are hard. It's like this. Wow. Beautiful clip, Dukasoft. President Not Sure is here. Hello, President Not Sure. I mentioned this yesterday because I felt really bad. I don't know, and I thought it was DC Aggie at first. I don't know if you were joking or not on Friday about feeling singled out and me treating you, or us, Banhammer, treating you differently than the other streamers and giving them more leeway than we give you. But if it is indeed true, then I want to apologize up front, and I will work on that. I will pay attention to that, and I will not do it anymore. I will treat everyone the same, because my goal is to treat everyone the same. Cool. Yeah, and if any of you ever do feel like I am singling you out, just call me out on it. If you are able to, because I know it's also difficult to call people out on that. If you could, please be gentle with it, because I'm probably not mindful that I'm doing it. Just a gentle reminder to be a little bit more mindful when I'm addressing you would be very helpful. No, it wasn't chaos. It was just a comment, and it was DC Aggie made a comment about something that I wasn't even familiar with, and it was political in nature, and I've called out, or we've called out, President Not Sure on political stuff, because I don't like discussing political stuff on this stream. It's a software development stream. The furthest we go is talking about food, and then like I have some nebulous boundary that I've painted that I want to try to communicate, that's like, if it's going to be political in nature, then try not to make it XYZ about a specific country, about a specific economy, about a specific whatever. General statements that don't name names, I think I'm okay with, but it depends on the day. But I will do my best to indicate, again, gently, without being rude about it. I hope I'm not rude about it when I think something is pressing the boundaries of what I'm comfortable with, without trying to make you feel like, oh, you're an asshole. Don't say like that, mother. Get off my fucking stream. I don't want to do that. I want to be nice. I want to be cool. It is all good, says President Not Sure. Because President Not Sure says it's all good, it is all good. I'm not assuming that it is because I want it to be. I try to be, but I'm not always. I know that I can be very restrictive. My core personality trait is righteous anger. And it is, I want you, and I'm mindful of this, so that's why I try to attenuate my the way that I present myself. I want you to see the good habits that I have and adopt them, but by your choice, not because I'm forcing you to, but because you see it and you're like, man, that's a cool way to be. I want to be like that. and it fits your ethos. It fits your own way of being. But I don't want you to change. I want you to be you. But I'm hoping that you do choose to change to be like TV Gamer, for example, was talking this morning about how strict I can be. And he didn't use the word strict. How strict I can be about the use of absolutes. And I joked about it earlier today. And I gave you the reason why it fits my ethos, because when I communicate with someone, I want to know if they are being serious about what they're talking about, or if they are just talking because they want to talk and not actually have anything to say that is contributing to our conversation. And I can't judge that if you are constantly using absolutes from my perspective. That's one of the things that I use to gauge whether a conversation is actually just someone trying to troll, someone trying to see how far they can push. See, yeah, I'm just not a fan of that. Can do, Dukasoft. I will do my best to remember to do that. Okay, so Eagle says, I believe you're a fair person, you're human. Dukasoft says, I also don't catch everything due to not being native English speaking, doing my best. And then Eagle said, but feel free to send me a private message if there's any issues. Then Eagle said, you are a little stricter on how you handle the flow of the stream and chat interactions, but it's your stream, so it's your rules. Yeah, and most days, like, I started streaming because, again, I am a solo developer and I don't have very much opportunity to speak with other developers about the stuff that I am working on. And so I was looking for input, for little tidbits, and I've gotten tons and tons since I've started streaming on how to improve as a developer by getting feedback from people, like the tab index thing that you were talking about earlier, and the ideas regarding what if you tried it this way? What if you tried it this other way? Absolutely really good stuff that I appreciate getting feedback on that I wouldn't otherwise. I would just be in my little silo programming by myself, because I literally am the only developer maintaining all of these projects. And I like it. I'm not complaining about it in the least, but it also doesn't give me the most opportunity to communicate with other developers on the products. But that also means that I'm streaming during my workday, which means that I'm getting paid for this time, which gives me the feeling that I should be doing stuff towards the products. And then if things are happening on the stream that are just trying to be distracting for the sake of being distracting, then I'm like, that's not really what this space is for. There are plenty of spaces on Twitch to do that. Feel free to explore it in those other places. But if you're going to be here, let's talk about software. Let's talk about the stuff at hand. And then Fridays we can talk about whatever, except for politics, religion, calling people out, singling people out. Because the other primary goal is I want to foster a community of supportive people that love to support each other. They get energy off of seeing other people succeed, and yeah, just love to help other people out. Because I don't see that enough, and I want to see it. And because I want to see it, I want to be the one that helps make it happen. Yeah. Okay, so my current goal, our next goal, is to get it so that when a menu is pinned open, all of its siblings that are expandable cannot be expanded. Eagle says, there's a streamer who is very heavy-handed on the ban hammer. As long as you're not like them, and just give me a warning when I step out of line. When I do, I am totally cool with you. Awesome. Yeah, and I'll discuss it with you. I mean, I like to treat people as if they are thinking humans. Humans with the ability to use thinking and discussion and topics, conversation. because you are. Okay. Okay. So one thought that I have. Yeah, I don't exactly know how to do this. It says, it may have been worth a timeout and a warning, Max, but who am I, right? You are worth hearing and being acknowledged. That's who you are. That's who everyone is on the stream to me. And that's the other thing. Because I hold myself to that standard, if you are someone that does like to purposefully see how far you can push someone, then I do feel like being targeted, attacked, blah, 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 blah. And I get that enough in real life that I mean, this is real life, but you know what I mean. I don't want to open myself up to that kind of thing. So I know that there is a certain culture on Twitch, but I don't know of any other platforms that are any better regarding the amount of trollage that happens. I pushed Git quite a bit. DFS. You're EE. I love that bunk. Maybe we'll get a lion bunk someday. Someday. I'll just ask the interwebs how to target all siblings using CSS. The tilde. I forgot about tilde. Goodness me. And I know why it's not working on the top level menu item. Okay, let's see if this one works, at least for the inner one. Eagle says, I love all her emotes. Lucky for me, it's not someone known in the software genre. You there? Menu. And then we were going to duplicate one of them. It's a lot easier to see when it's open. We're going to duplicate this one. Okay, so if we pin you open, actually, we don't even need to pin that one open to begin with. Let's pin that one open, and it works. Then neither of them expand. Okay, so now we just need this to work on the top level menu item. The reason that I think it's not working on the top level menu item is incorrect. I was going to say it's because of our CSS targeting. So if I were to click here, then this one has, where is it? Why didn't it show up? Let's look closely at this. I'm seeing something weird. We have the menu itself up here, which is this one on the very outer. We have nav item and menu item, or I guess in this case it's just and expandable, which is a child of nav item. So we're still able to select the correct item here, but I'm not seeing it showing here. What I'm expecting to see is the same thing that we see for this one, which is nav item, menu item, expandable. Oh, no more. I'm not seeing it. Huh. Right, because it's going to be the menu itself. Got it. So the menu is the one that gets the hello. Okay, let's do this real quick. This is confusing me. We got this though. Eagle says if you go to the rendering tab in DevTools, you can set the page to always remain in active state. The thing that I was going to do is set it to where this menu item has the focus. And that way, it's not the menu item. Okay, we'll say that it has focus within. Right, because it's not focus, it's focus within that I'm looking for. Okay, let's add that as a rule. So it can be not focus. So this means that it doesn't have hover, it doesn't have focus within, and it doesn't have focus itself. Here it can have hover. Oh. Focus within or focus. So I was selecting a child that has focus within and all of its siblings. Oh my gosh, that's too easy. That wasn't a very smart mistake, was it? All right, we need to get rid of this then. Okay, if I set that one to yes, 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 yes. Oh my gosh. It's because I forgot to say that it is the element itself that has focus within. Oops. Okay, so this means that we should be able to keyboard shortcut our way to victory. And not keyboard shortcut, tab our way to victory. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, so that's done. Set siblings of expanded menu items to not expand. Okay, good. One thing done. So, again, I'm keeping this on backlog because at the moment we don't have a need to implement this. And if we implement it, then I will want to implement it everywhere. So we're going to add to our backlog and this is where it feels like I'm just doing it as an afterthought because I am. I'm not going to beat around the bush. I am actually saying this is not important right now. There are other things that are more important for this application to get deployed, and the accessibility part that has to do with accelerator keys, I think is what Visual Basic used to call them. Access keys to get us to various portions. So like the thing that should happen naturally is if we turn on the narrator, Windows Shift Enter, Windows Control Enter, Windows Control Enter. No, where did that go? Oh, goodness. Narrator always gives me a heart attack. Okay, so typically you aren't intended to use keyboard when you're using narrator. Gentle list. Okay, so there are some additional things that we could do with narrator, like what is the narrator caps lock? Yeah, there it is. Okay, so caps lock key is the default narrator key when you're using Windows Narrator. And if you push caps lock F5, it brings up this portion. And that's one way that you can navigate around naturally. And I'm talking louder because this thing just, it goes. It gives me such a panic attack when I have it on. Hello? No, not what I meant. Yeah, seriously. There, Windows F6. Oh my gosh, this is so hard to move over to the main screen. Let's go slowly. Come with me. Okay, so Windows F6 will use your documents structure in order to be able to navigate. So that's another one. Then you have Windows, not Windows, I keep saying Windows, caps lock key. Caps lock key, arrow keys. Yeah, caps lock key with arrow keys will also take you through navigation. And you should be able to interact. Oh man, that's not good. You should be able to interact with the items themselves. Yeah, that sucks. But you can also use tab still, so you can use the maybe the normal process is you can use the navigation key, the navigator key, to get to where it is you're trying to go using control left, control right. And then you can tab when you get to the menus. Yeah, it works fine. So pressing keys is so retro. Windows Shift Enter turns it on and off. No, Control Windows Enter turns it on and off. It's off now. I can breathe. Goodness me. Is it hot in here? It's hot in here. I'm waiting for the next MacBook to just be touchscreen plus AI. I mean, I could see that happening, Snubble. I don't think you're too far off. So President Not Sure said, so I just found out that system.threading.lock isn't always a great replacement for locking on object because the former is not reentrant. So beware, changing your code to use system.threading.lock if you were using reentrant locks before. Oh, beware when. Have you tried using semaphore slims in place of locks? With a USB-S in the back of your neck. Who wants cables though, Marcus? Nobody wants cables. We're gonna have... No, I won't go there. I don't want to go there. I tried Semaphore Slim, this is Snubble, and was surprised my Windows Forms app deadlocked, but it shouldn't when you await the lock. It still can. It's just like any other kind of semaphore, any other kind of mutex, any other kind of locking stuff that you would do. You still have to use them mindfully, because while you're awaiting the lock, the key, it's possible that you get to a point within your lock that it doesn't release the key. And so your code is stuck at waiting for the key, waiting for whatever it is to be unlocked. I just don't like needing to manually deal with locks and... I'm a web developer. I don't need to deal with semaphores and locks. Who does in this day and age? Everything is async. You should not have to do that. Blech. President Not Sure says locking is fun times. I bet. Ego said, somehow that only happens in debug mode. It's strange. True. And it's not super strange if you think about how much processing happens when it sends stuff to the console. Oh my goodness. Because that gives threading, that gives the CPU a little bit more time to enter into these situations where two things might access the same code at the same time, literally, because you have some console write line that is happening in both, or debug write line, or just some logging that happens through a background worker. Marcus said my bath is not. What is your bath not? Snubble said, well, as long as you don't touch things belonging to other threads, you're good. Or use thread safe sharing objects. Oh god. Dead joke for the day. Thank you, Marcus. President Not Sure said, if you're using multi-threading, you've got to use synchronization. Yeah, but most of the time synchronization is handled quite well for us web developers, web app developers. It's pretty nice. And then President Not Sure also said, and Android in particular strongly discourages to the point of sometimes crashing when you do non-UI stuff on the UI thread. Interesting. Wow. I did not know that. Snubble said to Eagle, in olden times, he's got a little piece of hay sticking out of his mouth or whatever it's called. Just chewing on it. We had a project that refused to work and release. Only debug. Probably because threading. Just like that. And then Eagle replied, oh boy, with a this is fine emote. And Marcus repeated, async. But my bath is fine. I mean, my bath is not. Async. President Not Sure said, yeah, you have to dig deep on these things. You had that method called by two different threads probably. Yeah, and again, that's not that bad of a thing when you're using Semaphore Slim. It's intended for you to call it from different threads. That's the whole point of it. But if the original calling thread doesn't release the lock, then you're kind of deadlocked and waiting. It's still a thing that you have to do. What else? Snobble said, I wonder if we get green threads in .NET so the picture get even more complex. I have no idea what green threads are, and I'm not too interested, but you're definitely welcome to share. President Not Sure said, I thought that was DOA. And so President Not Sure knows what he's talking about. And then Snubble said, you say I shouldn't call the DB in the WM Paint message handler? Of course you should. Why not? Eagle said, I wrote my own queue system that allows any class to be put in it. It uses locks when querying the database in the worker. Production has not been frozen so far, but it happens occasionally that the one in debug mode in writer just no longer responds. Yeah, and that, again, like in debug, especially if you're using something like Entity Framework for your database calls, you do get a lot of logging that happens, and that could slow down your code enough to make it to where there is a race condition that happens. And then you get a deadlock. And 8-Bit says, got to head out for work. Take it easy, everyone. Did I miss a comment from you earlier? So like Marcus's name on my chat is the same color as your name in my chat. I did completely miss a message. I knew that I saw it, but then that was when Dukasoft posted the clip. So I completely missed it. I apologize for that. 8-Bit said a long time ago, I've been stuck using Unity's CSS style tools lately. They're still adding features to try and match the newest standards of CSS. Man, seeing your style sheet makes me envious sometimes. You can still write your CSS in Sass. So if you happen to be using Visual Studio, then you can still create for Unity, for your Unity project, you can still create SCSS files, compile them to CSS, and then copy the compiled CSS to wherever it is for that Unity is using, the Unity CSS style tools. I think, unless you're saying that you can't even use CSS at all. But anyway, you're heading off to work. Oh, awesome. Awesome. So enjoy your workday. I hope you get a lot done if that is your goal for the day. I hope you are able to take it easy if that is your goal for the day. I hope that whatever you want / need for today is yours. And so it is. And Eagle says SCSS. I love SCSS too, so very much. If I knew less first, I still probably wouldn't like it, because isn't less also tab delimited? It doesn't use curly braces or white space delimited, or white space. You know what I mean? White space. Like Python, whatever that's called, it escapes me. White space formatted? Anyway. 8-Bit says, like I wrote a custom implementation to have Sass working in Unity editor directly. Most of the missing features, though, include selectors of certain types. Ironically, Unity missing some basic features while having a lot of more advanced and built-in UI controls elements compared to normal HTML and CSS. Interesting. Oh. But man, that felt good. So we have a menu that will stay expanded when we click on the individual items. Very cool. And then it goes away when we actually select a page. All right, see you later, 8-bits. 8 bits. Bits of 8. Eagle asked, should I make my queue system into a library? Always. I don't think something like it exists. At least I could not find one that does what I needed back then. Today is such a fun stream. I am being a bit sardonic. Gomenasai. So anyway, yes, I do think that you should make that specific library, or that specific functionality into a library. First of all, do you think that there are chances that you're going to be using it in other applications? If so, if you, in my opinion, if you think you're going to use it in at least one other application, you may as well make it into a library. If it was, hello, Big Gaming, taking the place of Apocalypse. I always feel like I should just stop talking when that happens. Like, I am just saying stuff that you don't want to hear right now, so yeah. But you're just coming in and saying hi. That's all. I know. I get it. I get it. I get it. This is the kind of trolling I'm talking about. Coding fem? Who in the world is coding fem? Where did that come from? Okay, so I'm going to be quiet for the rest of the stream so that you can play all of the loud noises. And then you won't have to hear me talk and passagly tell me that you don't want to hear me.
I got a bad feeling about this.
We don't need to print the internet.
Eagle says it is a very versatile system with a spin up and spin down API for the workers, and you can have multiple worker names that pick up the jobs with the worker name. Not sure if I need it in the future, but it is working pretty good. I do appreciate your bits, though. Thank you so much for the bits. Right. Our next tackle is making this faster. Close all. UI. None of you, I don't think. I try not to think, at least. Look at how close he is. Look at how close. How close. If you get this thing at an angle that high, you're gonna be crowned, I don't know, something regal and important. So close. Oh, come on. Right here. Come on. Oh. So yes, if anyone does have any ideas on how to write the logic for that, it was so close. Yeah. Because I have some pretty weird logic for it, which is, again, it has to do with scaling everything to realistic proportions. So the modeling of everything is scaled to real world. The UI for it is scaled so that you can see yourself and you can see the target, and the distance doesn't quite match up to your height compared to, yeah. Because if I made it completely scalable, it would be all the way off the screen, and you would be big. Because it's 70 meters maximum to the target. And that one is itty bitty. Like, again, here's another potential for more points to be scored. The size of your target, if it's small and you hit it, you should also get bonus points, right? I'm gonna write that down. here. Archery. I'm hearing things now. Add points for size of target. Bonus points. Smaller target. Yeah, that's on my list. Here's my list. When you redeem archery, it'll randomly generate the parameters, not just the distance and elevation of the target, but also atmospheric pressure, wind, and gravity. Sum all the forces into one force and apply that to the arrow. For archery contest redeem. So there's like an archery contest redeem where someone says, let's redeem archery contest. And then everyone has their own character and you can all shoot at the same time. And your arrow will fly after the countdown is done, after you put in your power, angle and power. What is that noise? So weird. It's really hard to think suddenly. But yeah, these are all the things that I want to add to it eventually. Is it the song? I don't think so. Nice mellow song. Hey there, bit gamey, bit gummy. So yeah. Anyway, I don't spend very much time on the bot at all because too many other things that I'm interested in doing. The dancing. Are we supposed to hear the music? I turn it down far enough that if you don't want to hear the music. Oh wait, it was the music. That if you don't want to hear the music, then you can just have the volume turned down enough to where you only hear my voice. I had it at this level before. But people were like, is the music louder than normal? And so I put it at this volume typically. So yes, it's there. It's just playing in the background. But yeah, there's this kind of metallic pinging, clinking that's happening that sounds like one of my bottle lids. But they're both accounted for. They aren't wiggling around. There's nothing metallic on my desk. So it's got to be coming from the music. There's nothing else making noise. There was a meme about INTJ brains, or I don't know, some kind of brains, where it's like I have 60 tabs open, 40 of which are frozen, 3 of which are 404 not found, some are something denied, whatever it's called, access denied, and where is the damn music coming from? Okay, I'm going to open this in a tab that is not on screen first. Oh, hey, thank you so much for using a different, actually, this isn't even a different image thingy. This is the actual game. That's awesome. Do you have a you have an API key for me? You have to go to Words API. Aha. So cool. So Marcus provided an app that he's been coding on. Yeah, and this would be if you are wanting us to go through this and actually try it out and play it. Can I recommend that we try it tomorrow during community day instead? Because I've been kind of sitting at stalled and not moving on to the next work item. Ambitious mushroom. I do love the random URLs that you get when you create static apps. We got one. Okay, so here is the main page. Apparently we're not going to do this tomorrow. We're going to do it today. And we are going to Scrabble to Scrabble. And I'm not sure. We start playing off of M. No. Oh, okay. So wherever you click on it is where it's going to use the letter. Oh no, man. I'm not good. Dang it. I'm not good with words. Play word. Click tiles. Why is this a why is this a busy cursor? That's an interesting choice, Marcus. I know that you chose that on purpose. There are instructions, he says, but nobody reads instructions. I have to get Copilot to fix that. Yeah, so me and reading on stream is already a bad thing. It's not going to work. Yeah. I can't do this. I can't do this on stream. Yeah, I definitely got that from your streams. So Marcus is saying I never actually wrote a single line of code for this, which is completely okay. Understandable. I mean, I'm not judging you for it, obviously. I use Copilot agent in GitHub for quite a few things. I do my own stuff. This has got to wait. You can't start from another word, another. Interesting. So what happens when I do that then? It replaces the word. So you get one letter only for the letter. And then you just keep making words using that letter the whole time. In my simple words. And I can't believe it accepted that as a word. No, forget you. You like M, but you don't like I got it. I got it. Them. What? It actually accepted that. Yeah, but it says it's validated against a real English dictionary. You would think that the word is in a real English dictionary. Why aren't you giving me any R's? R's would be nice. Mem. It's a word. Numb. Numb is not a word. What? Are we sure this is English? Sim. Why don't I have a P? Why don't I have a P? Look, I have an R now, but I can't use it. I don't have any vowels. Goodness, I was trying to do this without shuffling the tiles. It seems to be accepting words but not showing definitions. So is it supposed to... It's supposed to show the definition when you click play. Are you sure it's not showing the definition? What Copilot has done often is created styles that are inverted to what the style should be. So when it should be showing, instead it is hiding. So is it in the UI? Is there actually a word definition? And where would that show? Here, word definition. Oh, placeholder. Okay, so I'm assuming the definition is going to show up here. It worked locally. That's sad. Anyway, thank you for showing us that. If you want to look at it closer, like at the actual code that is being generated by Copilot, or you want to tell us more about it, then absolutely invite you back for tomorrow's Community Day stream. I need to get back to work. Reg is here. Hello, Reg. Just go to the internet anagram server, put in all the letters, get words back. Then we wouldn't be playing the game, would we? My English is not good enough to do these kinds of games, says Eagle. You seem to be doing fine to me. Style of writing, apparently. M is a style of writing, I guess. Define M. Unit of measure. Yes, we know that it's a unit of measure. But that is not in a real English dictionary, is it? It's a prefix. Yes. Merriam-Webster has it defined as the letter M and as the width of a piece of type about as wide as it is tall, used as a unit of measure. So it is in an English dictionary. Who knows which English dictionary that one is using? It also looks like it's in the Cambridge dictionary too. Tell him to go away. Primary abbreviation for number or numeral, yes. So it accepts, and it's also saying this is also a variant of num, like the actual num. Anyway, those words are fine. Eagle says, yeah, I'm fine with regular chat, but come up with words based on scrambled letters is not a part of my unlock skills in my skill tree, nor mine. I mean, it does help to be dyslexic, but at the same time, just being able to read words on screen and see characters and letters that are not like instructional, informational, what I'm already expecting to see, they're just outside of the norm, then oh no. My brain just goes, I'm not gonna work. I don't like to. You can't make me. But yeah, it was showing definitions earlier, says Marcus. Earlier on the stream even. Interesting. I wasn't paying attention. Bear in mind, it's only a game. Absolutely. I just like increasing my vocabulary. I've recently added new words to my vocabulary that I didn't know are words that I could say. They're not words that I would repeat on stream. But they are there now. So if they slip out every now and then, I apologize ahead of time. Okay. I'm trying to get to the record check page, code behind, and eventually the service and service implementation so that we can see what the logic is for doing the record check and why it's taking so long. Right, and I said I wasn't going to do that yet because I'm currently getting Copilot and agent mode to turn all of the stored procedures into a C# class library. Interesting. That's not where the record check is happening. Where's record check happening, dude? Hey, dude. Joe, tell to me. When I am to push the record check button, record check passed. Here, handle submit pressed. Request validator validate async. Aha, and then perform record check. I didn't even see this in there. Dude, stop calling me dude. I'm not your dude. All right, dude. So yeah, we're obviously having a lot of issues with this because I don't remember this actually, but apparently I have already converted the stored procedure for perform record check into a C# method. And that is going to perform the record check on each of the records individually in a task await all, or task one all. Eagle says, I took one look at your screen, Marcus Voice Coder, when I rated with TBD, but my dyslexia just went haywire on me with all that's going on with your code. How do you do it? So yeah, that form of dyslexia where it's cognitive overload because of too much information, I apologize. That has to be rough because everything everywhere has like bells and whistles that are like, look at me, pay attention to me. Can't imagine what that's like. I know what it's like when there's sound doing that, but not visual. Sup, dog? Marcus said to Eagle, okay, dude. No, that was Chickasaw that said that. My bad. Marcus said to Eagle, with the help of some pretty smart guys at Talon Voice and cursorless Visual Studio Code extension, there is a whole community that are hands-free nowadays. That's awesome. That's very cool. Okay, we're doing perform record checks on our entire list of TRNs. Right. So it's this one here, and we're doing it one record at a time. We're doing it one record at a time. Like, what I'm very, very tempted to do is to find out if there is a way that we could consolidate the rules so that we perform the same rule on all of the records instead of one record at a time. Because there are fewer rules than there are records typically. Yeah, and this is just a straight port. You can definitely see where the issue is coming from. For every single record, we're doing clear errors. For that specific TRN record. No, they didn't. No. No. Weird. May I ask what kind of disability you have? Says Stony to Marcus. Certainly better than it was back in the day with Dragon, naturally speaking, says Marcus. But Dragon was such a cool name for any kind of app. And to have it on voice software. So Marcus said, repetitive strain injury, too much working without breaks, cycling to and from work, playing games on the weekend. Take care of yourselves. Here's a query. Here's a query. And again, remember, these are queries for every, not just that, this is the entire list of imported TRNs that we already have here. No, not there. Oh, okay. This should be fine, right? Because this is what? This is war. What are you getting populated by? RetResp equals new selected TRNs. Oh man, so this is where this app gets very, very confusing because sometimes the TRN is the entire imported TRN record. So every single one of the values in the transfer file itself, every single one of the columns. Other times, the TRN is treated as the combination of the lab and the lot value. So it's lab name space lot number, lot name. So in this case, our selected TRNs is the installation code, lab, and lot. Why does it look like there's more? Hi, Kenny. How you doing, Kenny? How's it going, Kenny? Thank you for getting my attention, Kenny. Shout out to Candy Dev, who has been working hard and hardly working at the same time, which is really, really difficult to do. If you've ever tried it, it's a thing though. You should definitely try it too. Thanks that I'm not allowed to distract you. What even? What even? Oh, geez. And there was more conversation between Marcus and Eagle. But first, Dukasov said, I just took care of my wallet. I'm poor now. You keep throwing bits at people and and gifting subs to people, and then you complain about being poor. Just keep some of those bits and stuff for yourself. Be a little less poor if that is a concern. I just took care of my wallet. I'm poor now. Just ordered a DJI Osmo Action 4 Adventure combo. I have no idea what that is though. Eagle said, okay. So you basically, to Marcus. So you basically use Talon for everything. How long did it take for you to get used to it? Marcus said, the army taught me no pain, no gain. And then Baz in parentheses. I don't know what that means. And then Eagle said, bad Duca, bad. Marcus said, it takes around 6 months to get proficient, but you're constantly improving with the tool set. Yeah. Oh, they're constantly improving the tool set, probably. Then Dukasov said, bad. Action. Adventure. That should get me outside, right? Question man. Then Candy came in, said, what's up? How's it going? Then said something a little cryptic that I didn't quite understand. Thanks for the shout out. Eagle, Stony Eagle said, that is quite the effort. Then Eagle also said, have they not enough already? True that. Oh, and then Marcus said, pain is a great motivator. Then Eagle said, true that. Dukasov said, never to the have they not enough already, which was in response to Dukasov saying, action adventure. That should get me. I don't know which one that was in response to. There's a lot. There's a lot. Candy says feeling a little bit blubby de blub. Okay, I can read it now. Feeling a little bit blubby de blub. I started to refactor some more mechanic. I got words of my mechanic of my overlay and won't get it ready in time. But long weekend, so plenty of time to fix everything. How's your project going? Well, it's currently at a standstill because I'm not actively working on it, and I want to be. And then Candy said, "Oh yeah, that's the reason I program. Like the cause it gives me, like that, cause it gives me a lot of pain." Napalm says, pet peeve, if you're going to use URI, go back to URL. Don't go back to URL randomly. Are you saying in the code they're using URI everywhere and then on random occasions they use string URL? Just libraries like to flip-flop. It's annoying. I do think it's annoying too. Eagle says, sometimes it's better to ignore us, Mr. Streamer. I can't do that. Like, I have so many personality issues that make streaming not the most enjoyable, but also extremely enjoyable for me. It's anyway. Marcus said, if you were in agent mode, you could pop over to chat while you were waiting. Yeah, but I mean, the goal of the stream, again, is to improve as a developer while writing actual code. I use Copilot off stream enough, and I also still write code off stream as well. But when I write code, I don't get feedback from anything, and I don't want Copilot's feedback on my code because it doesn't necessarily have it's not as opinionated. I mean, when I say it's not as opinionated, I'm sure it's opinionated, but in a echo chamber kind of way, where everything becomes latte, cosmic latte. It's all the same color. But when I speak with you guys, each of you have your own individual opinions on how to approach a situation, your own ideas, your own suggestions. Yeah, that is true. You're not wrong, President Not Sure. So President Not Sure said, I'd use custom instructions to make it more opinionated, but that's just me. Some of the, I don't think I have it in this one. Some of the things that I told it were to follow my standards. And this one isn't going to be good because this one is just a class library and not a full-on app. And by the way, what I am, Copper Beardy is here. What I am normally doing during the day is this library in specific, which actually at the moment I can't do it with this library because I'm manually reviewing stuff. But this library in specific, I have, let me show it. This will be part of the stream, I guess. GitHub.com. It's .com. RTRAC DB reference. Okay, so this one I have added the Copilot instructions, which are target C#, use my preferred coding style, library design principles, and specific preferences for this library. Don't think about UI. Don't do anything regarding UI at all. Try to use .NET Standard 2. Compile using .NET 9. And the way that I told it how to compile was I added the Copilot steps to add .NET 8 to the environment. So if you do Copilot setup steps, then it will run this YAML before it creates any whatever they're called. You know, the things that it creates over here. Issues. Workspace is what I was trying to say. So it'll create a workspace and it'll run whatever you have in that YAML file. If you do build, it does fail quite often, or not, it does fail quite often. If the build fails, almost TBD. If you have build in here and the build fails, Copilot agent will not continue work. It'll just stop. Which is like, you should use those failures to see what to fix, but no. So anyway, I have that. I have dev container set up. I don't know why. This had something to do with giving it access to the repo, even though it's a private repo or something. There's something to do with the firewall for the project so that it can build, and just a whole bunch of other stuff. So anyway, I have that. And then I have all of the issues that I set up to follow the implementation plan in chunks, so that after every single one of these is completed, I can go through and validate, because this is important business logic. I'm allowing it to do the class library portion of it, where it's converting the stored procedures in this case to C#. But I am also needing to validate that the logic does match. So I don't have it open on this computer, but the way that I would have it open is one at a time. May as well show my workflow. So this isn't working so well with this. I guess what I was trying to say is, what I would normally do is have it working on some item in some other code base that I'm not actively working in. In this case, it is this turn stored procedures into C# methods thing. While it's working on that, I am working on DDMS. I am working on RTRAC. I am doing whatever other thing allows me to write code, because I, like TBD here, enjoy writing code, and I don't ever want to not write code. I don't ever want to not write logic, but I am also okay with allowing this thing to write code for other projects that are my responsibility. That makes sense. I don't even know what I'm talking about. So let me catch up in chat. Dukasoft said, I don't get the difference between URI and URL. As far as C# is concerned, URI is a different kind of object and URL is just a string, but URI is unified resource, and it involves having more parts of the URL described than a regular URL. So there's the resource locator, and yeah, there is a difference, I promise. Candy says, I want to go buy some punctuation. What else did I miss? What else did I miss? Just lives like to flip flop. That's where I left off. It's annoying. Dukasoft said, I still don't get the difference between URI and URL. Eagle said, without your own list of quirks, you would just be a boring person to watch. Thank you, I guess. President Not Sure said, I'd say use custom instructions to make it more opinionated, but that's just me. And that's cool. Again, I would love to, and I'm okay with that, but I still want feedback from other developers that have encountered these things, so that if I were ever in a situation where I needed to do it myself, I would have that grounding. Napalm said, to Dukesoft, me either. Marcus said, yes, but the models have their own personality, especially Lev. So no longer Bereth, now Lev, has a very wonderful personality. An amazing personality. Snobble said, Copilot is always very encouraging. This is a great idea, even though I feel like it was not a great idea of mine. I love that it agrees with everything. And by love, I mean I'm utterly annoyed with the "you're absolutely right" opening line. Oh. And then Copperbeardy came in, said hi, hello, hi, how are you doing? Candy said, one is a URL that is used as an ID for a resource. The other one is a location where you find the resource. The URI can be an URL, but not vice versa, when I remember correctly, if I remember correctly. But don't trust it without checking it again. TBD asked, is it Friday yet? Almost. We should have enough time to do another shout out for TBD Gamer, who is back from a meeting, I assume, if only temporarily. TBD streams Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. Eastern Time, UTC-4 currently, and Mondays and Fridays he streams developers.stream, which is an... Did I type that wrong? Developers.sterum. He works on an app called developers.sterum, which is going to be a way for developers who stream to get found. Hooks up people who want to watch developers that stream and the developers that stream. TBD says to Copperbeardy, long time, hope you're well. Did I skip something? I skipped Eagle saying yes, at least a few places on Earth. To TBD, true, you're right. Like Australia, I think. Canny said depends in response to TBD. TBD said to Eagle, I'm not in one of those places. Dukesoft said, ouch, my head, regarding the URL URI stuff. Copperbeardy says, not too bad. Hope things are good for you. To TBD. And Eagle says, can you move? Nope. None of us can. We're stuck where we are. Snowball said, I use custom instructions to make it more succinct. Yeah, I feel I get walls of text otherwise. You're absolutely right. And I need to add that to my instructions too. And then I need a summary AI. Nice. You're right, though. That is definitely true. And something I didn't think of adding to the instructions. But then again, if you have instructions that are too long, and I think mine are getting a little too long, it does struggle a little bit more with retaining context because you're using up so many tokens with the instructions. One thing that I have to keep reminding Copilot when I have it in agent mode working in GitHub is that I use Sass. Don't modify the CSS files directly. I use Sass. The CSS files are going to get overwritten if you modify the CSS files directly. Oh my gosh. Then Marcus said there is no level of confidence setting. And Dukasoff said, imagine a treasure map. 1. URI. This is like saying X marks the spot. It tells you what the treasure is or where it is. It could be a name, a place, or both. 2. URL. This is the map with directions to the treasure. It tells you exactly how to get there, like go to the forest, turn left at the big tree, dig under a rock. So it includes the address and path to reach something. And Marcus says, thanks for the shh. Thanks for the shh. Did we shout you out? Shout out Marcus, voice coder. Were you trying to say that on someone else's stream? No, we did shout you out. Thank you, Dukasoft. But that was like an hour ago or half an hour ago. So shout out to Marcus Voice Coder, who does lots and lots of development using just his voice, using a few tools like Talon and Visual Studio Code Extension or Visual Studio Extension. I can't remember. He said it earlier. And thanks, ChatGPT. And TBD Gamer, developers.stream, which he'll be working on tomorrow. And Tuesday through Thursday, he works on Liquid Sky. Here is another shout out for Marcus Voice Coder, the Soduka style. So cool style. Isn't CSS now mature enough to use without Sass? Almost. It's cool. So CSS 3 does support nested rules, but the syntax is quite a bit different, and there are still features in Sass that you don't get with CSS. Just regular CSS. So Napalm says another knit, probably rant also. I'm not familiar with the term knit. Guess I'm batchy today. Like your batch file or batch queries? Nitpick. If AWS can make IAM changes immediately, why the hell can't Azure? I don't know. As in nitpicking. Thank you. Thank you for clarifying. Napalm says to Snobble, wrong. Oh, because Azure is better is what Snobble said. And Napalm said, wronk, with a K at the end. WRONGK. The K is invisible, by the way. It's kind of like silent letters, except, invisible. Snobble says, I see. How many tabs do you have open, Dukasoft? Okay. We are getting to that point where I'm not making any progress on the code again. So I think at the top of the hour, I'm going to end the stream so that I can do work. But it is definitely fun hanging out with you guys. So I will continue reading chat and saying stuff. Here in Norway, some dialects replaced V sounds with K sounds. Interesting. Interesting. Napalm says, had me thinking my iPad auto-corrected me again. Yeah, it's definitely nitpicking without the K. But I do like nitpicking. Dukasoft says, I have no more fingers to count. Sorry. Sorry for what? Eagle says, you don't want to know how many tabs I have open. My phone says, suddenly, because I set up all these computers, recently I reformatted all of them, that I have 50 tabs open because I synced my tabs with my mobile device. So I have 50 browser tabs open in Chrome, apparently. And in Notepad++, we're not even going to go there. Marcus says the French pronounce the K. Thank you. It's knit in French. TBD Gamer says, I just had a one-on-one with my boss where I expressed that I don't feel our DevOps group could operate their way out of a paper bag. I hate criticizing others, but the outcome is... Sorry. That statement is a funny statement. But the outcome is that I have to document expectations and follow up on timelines on a group outside of my control. True. Eagle says, also, I don't want to count them. Because you can't count that high, or... No, I'm kidding. Sorry, just kidding. Marcus says the French pronounce the K. TBD says, all the tabs to Eagle. Snobble says, so who does what? Turns into Coda's cat. In Norwegian, obviously. Coda's cat. Stone Eagle says, yes! to all the tabs. Snobble says to TVD Gamer, DevOps group? I thought all teams are DevOps now. Eagle says, don't kill a joke by saying sorry. But the sorry was part of the joke. That's why I say that. Sorry. President Not Sure says, yeah, they take the group that does operations now and calls them DevOps. And TVD said to Snobble, is that your shrugs emote or which one is that? Yes, that's your yes emote. And President Not Sure says, even though they're just ops. I'm ops all over the place. Ops. Oh dear, Snobble said to TVD. Be careful with expressing such opinions. You might get promoted to DevOps to fix the issues. Eagle says, I'm so sorry. Please forgive me. With the pouty face. Kawaii. Napalm said, I found a clunky little JSON schema to Poco generator today. Wish there was some better options in this space. The one that I use is called type. Gosh, I can never remember what it's called off the top of my head. JSON to C# class online. Quick type. This is the one that I use most often. Chorus. Yeah. So this is one that Nerd Herder turned me on to 5 years ago. A long time ago. And I've liked it so much that I use it all the time. The other one that I like is just being able to take valid JSON, right click in the editor and paste as C#. Paste JSON as classes. Or press dot and get a why does my neck hurt? TVD Gamer says, I'm feeling I'm going to get promoted to unemployed the rate I'm going. And Tugasoft says, obsolete, maybe. Snobble said to Napalm, just AI it, right? Napalm says, I'm using Corvus. Here's quick type. Napalm said, I need one that it is done as part of build. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I thought you meant like just an online converter. Interesting. I clone the auth0 log stream JSON schemas and generate the Pocos format. I like Pojos from it. That's probably a bad word in Spanish. Digsoft says, I believe you. I believe in you, unemployed or not. I believe you. You're going to be unemployed, TBD. If that's where you want to be, that's where you'll be. Snubbo says, oh yeah, I also add AI to my ops roles now, so I guess I am AlSec my super sup dev sup ops or something like that now. AI sec, that's not an L. AI sec. I don't know what this MIG int is. Like int sup devs sup ops migrations. Okay. I use paste JSON as code by QuickType extensions in VS Code. That's awesome. I didn't know they had a VS Code extension. That's very cool. Marcus says, or press dot in GitHub. Yeah, so I was like, that's not a thing. And so if you're in a repo and you push dot, it takes you to code spaces. for the repo. I was like, what? Nonsense. This is not a thing. And then you can't get back to the GitHub. So many devs do not know this trick, says Eagle. Snubble says migrations and integrations. Just add VS Code to the build. Sadly, it's not working though, so that's disappointing. Aw. And then President Not Sure said, hopefully the code space isn't still running. I don't know, man. Cotton, do I have a code space running now? Musical Happiness. Opulent Xylophone. These are both a week ago. No idea. No idea if that means that I still have running code spaces or not. And also, my branch isn't protected. It only costs you about $500 every time you press dot. Yeah, that's probably what it was. It's like, let's get you to open up a new code space, close the window, leave it running. And I don't even know if it costs money to have code spaces running or if it's just part of the subscription or what. But that would be bad business practice if that's a thing, in my opinion. When did the music stop? When the music died. Do you remember when? Oh, we used to sing. Sha na 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 da dee da. I'd imagine you get a warning message first. Again, bad business practice could be bad business practice. Okay. So with that in mind, any last words? I need to start lurking on some people's channels. What happened to all the people that I was lurking on? Dagnabbit. What are you doing today? Okay. Any last word sounds threatening. Not intended to be threatening. I think you paused the music when we looked at the clip earlier. I wouldn't have. Not purposefully paused, at least. Yeah, same. So same. Same. So same. Any last words that sounds threatening? Thing.data, not just thing parse object. Oh! Does that fix it? Is it working now? I hope it works. Not abandoning, no. Leaving. Gonna go do my job now. So I'm not exactly being successful at getting the experience that I'm trying to get. So yeah, I am taking measures to make sure that I am still able to do my my due diligence. Not my due diligence. I'm still trying to honor my client, make sure that I'm doing the amount of work that I say that I'm doing. So yeah. And I'm not going to have that time bleed into my daytime. I'm ready for Friday 2, says Napalm to TBD. And then anyway, have a good one. 1 and chat. Already abandoning us. Farewell until Friday. Yep. Tomorrow, mañana. Yeah, I think something might exist. And TBD says, have a great rest of your day. All Mr. Wyan. Thank you very much for the strem. Napalm says, yeah, I think something might exist. How many times am I going to read that? Napalm said, yeah, I think something might exist. And Napalm also said, yeah, I think something might exist. Dukasoft says, don't leave us. Napalm said, damn autocorrect. Ignore me, one lion. There's Discord, there's YouTube. Eagle says, I know the deal, but still. Christ. See you soon. Napalm says, I'm stuck in autocorrect loop. Stop the chat already. Have a great one, everyone. Actually, you have time to write. I mean, I still haven't typed /raid yet. /raid. You can keep typing. The timer will count down. We're going to raid over to Code Rad Games. Just because I see his name right there. No stopping. Stuck forever, says Napalm. He also says, no stopping. Stuck forever. And also, in his second message, he says, stuck forever. But before that, he says, no stopping. And then after no stopping, he says, stuck forever. So request, Tenacious D. Lee. What do you think we are? Big Gamey's channel? The bestest of the bestest channel? Paste War on Peace. I'm gonna find cake, says TBD. I thought you said no cake with your Fitbit. I mean your usage of Maybe's app. So none of that now. None of that. Be kind to yourself. Love your body. Love yourself. All of you. That's my wish for you. That you love yourself a little more today. That you're kinder to yourself. I'm gonna go take a mental break. And have one too. Ciao for now.